Everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Emily. I love macrame, thrifting, and a good DIY project. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about having a clutter-free home. I would say I'm a wannabe minimalist, but I'm also realistic and I like my things. And so I don't know if I'll ever be a minimalist, but I do try and live a clutter-free lifestyle. I recently had a garage sale. Surprisingly, I had enough stuff for a garage sale, which if you'd ever come over to my house, you might find that surprising because I've definitely had people tell me that I don't have a lot of things. The fact that I was able to put on a garage sale, I did do it with a friend and it was awesome. During this process of finding things to basically sell for my garage sale and decluttering to that next level, I just wanted to make this video to share some tips or habits to having a clutter-free home. I think one of the most obvious steps is getting rid of things you don't use. Try following the rule that if a whole season went by when that item would have been used, so if it was winter item or a summer item and you spent the whole summer and you never used it, then I think that's a good indication that you're not going to use it and that it's time to get rid of it. Sometimes it's not always seasonal things, sometimes it's a craft supply that's for that one idea, but truth is you've already had it for 2 years and you've never done that idea. Then it's just time to get rid of it. To me, I actually value having more space to store something that I love and use than this item that is actually just creating clutter in a closet that I end up never using for years and years. If you have multiples of an item, and this can work in basically every area of your home, clothes, kitchen items, craft supplies, knickknacks, home decor. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. As you guys know, I have a lot of baskets. This is a really great example. If you bring a cream sweater in that has a very similar fit to a cream sweater you already have that you don't wear as often, then get rid of that other cream sweater. Or if you bring a craft supply in, throw out some of your old craft supplies, like if you're bringing in new paint, throw away those old paints. Like all of these things, just bringing something in and getting rid of that same similar item decreases your clutter and keeps it at a place that's happy and manageable. Being really smart with your purchases. You guys have watched a lot of my thrift videos and I've had some of you comment saying, you know, I'm very choosy. You can tell I'm only gonna buy stuff I love because truthfully, though this is a YouTube channel, this is like my real life and I'm spending my real money anytime I go thrifting. And so I don't want to bring junk or just thrifted home decor into my home because it's cool. And so I do pass on a lot of items, and you guys saw in my last video that I saw some fun pictures and I said, I don't need another picture. I have 2 pictures that I use as vases currently, and I didn't need to bring another picture into my home. And so saying no to an item, you know you don't need it, it's empowering and it just causes you to kind of maintain your home in a way that doesn't start to feel overwhelming. Just be smart with your buying decisions. Sometimes all you need to do is, especially if it's at a store, just go home, think about that item. If you've been thinking about it for days and days, which does happen to me, then I go back and I get it. Oftentimes I've already moved on from it and it was just that in the moment joy of wanting something new. But sometimes if you just choose to pass and think about it, you'll find, oh wait, I didn't need that. I'm kind of glad I didn't spend the money and come home with that item. You guys know that I'm a mom and I have a toddler, so how could I talk about having a clutter-free home without kind of mentioning toys? Because it's a big thing, so if you're not a mom and you don't have toys, or you're not a grandma with toys, you know, then you can skip over this little section. Toys are huge and toys create a large amount of clutter. This is my thoughts on toys and what I choose to bring in the home. You know your own kid, and Olin has like 4 main things he plays with, and the rest he doesn't play with that often. When it comes to toys, I like to invest in things that he plays with often and that he can grow with. Actually, his toys, I just keep them down to a minimum. I really try and see what my son is into and just focus on those things. And right now that's blocks, coloring, his kitchen, and maybe Play-Doh. Me and my husband, if we see that we have toys that he doesn't play with, we get rid of them. And I don't feel bad about it. There's been times where it's been maybe 3 months later and he finally asks for that random toy. And he'll mention it one time and we kind of chat about it and then it's done. And I know I made the right decision in getting rid of it. Along with keeping the toys to a minimum, I also have a home for every toy of Olin's. They all have a place, and because of that, there's no toy that is just left as a free-for-all. Everything has a home, it has a place. Right along with that tip about toys, everything has a home, that's how I feel about everything in my house, and that really, to me, eliminates some clutter. When there are things that just end up sitting on shelves, stacked high places, that's where I feel like, oh boy, like I don't even have a home for this item to be put. Those are the type of things that I try to avoid in my home simply because clutter stresses me out. And that's the truth of it. I don't like clutter. It gives me anxiety and stress when I look around, see things piled, messy. That's stressful for me. Everything in my home, I try and find a place that it belongs. And when I don't have a place it belongs, I gotta find one, or maybe it won't be staying in our home because if I don't have room for it, then I really shouldn't be holding on to it. I wanted to add that having a clutter-free home and just creating a clutter-free lifestyle does not necessarily mean that I am a super clean person. I would say being like clutter-free and being really clean are 2 different things. One of the reasons that I try and stay so clutter-free is because I'm not always the best at cleaning and straightening up, and of course I do it, but having a clutter-free home really helps me stay cleaner because it's less overwhelming. There's less things to be cleaned, if that makes sense. That is another reason that I like to be clutter-free, because it just has a cleaner feel even when I haven't necessarily deep cleaned. Me and my husband live in a fairly small basement suite. I mean, it's not the tiniest, but it's pretty small. And we're gonna have 2 kids in this basement. Not having lots of storage has really caused us to ask the questions like, do we want to hold on to something? And this is really what I asked myself for this garage sale. A lot of what I ended up getting rid of was things that I've been holding on to that don't work in this house, but I had plans for eventually when we move. Truth is, I know for sure we're gonna be in this home for another year, and then I'm not so sure what the future holds for us after that. But the reality kind of hit me that I'm holding on to something that potentially 2 or 3 years from now is when I would use it, and my style's already changed, and I don't know that I'm gonna want this item 2 to 3 years from now. I've had these shelf brackets now in this house for 2 years, and it's gonna be 3 years and maybe another year after that, and why am I holding on to shelf brackets when I can go buy brand new shelf brackets when I need them? Sell them in my garage sale, or give them or donate them to the thrift store to somebody who needs them right now. I feel like we all store stuff that's like, I love this piece. At some point I just had to ask myself, how long do I plan on holding on to this without it being used? And why am I not using it? And when I asked myself those things, I then realized, okay, I can get rid of this because in 2 years, I'm probably gonna want a new throw blanket because that's just the truth. I think that's it, you guys. My thoughts were a little bit scattered. Welcome to my life. But I hope that you guys kind of got a look into my brain and how I process what I bring into my home and how I choose to get rid of things, and really trying to maintain a clutter-free lifestyle. It makes me feel less stressed and more at peace. I'm a 9 on the Enneagram, if anybody cares about that stuff. And truthfully, having external peace brings me internal peace. So when my home is in order and clutter-free, I feel good. If you have something that you're like, this is something I do to stay clutter-free, just comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. As always, you guys can subscribe. If you know anybody else that would enjoy this video, feel free to share it. And if you're not already, you can follow me on Instagram at EmilyFaith22. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.